Alright, so it seems that we have an update on the Sonic and Lion King battle. It seems that Disney's Mufasa, the Lion King, is losing against Sonic. Yep. So we have the, Saturday. And of course, some Disney fanboys could probably say, oh, Sonic's opening is just fanboy loaded or something like that. It's fanboy loaded or something. But as we see clearly, Mufasa is doing half of Sonic's numbers. Okay, so Mufasa only opened to 13 million, Sonic opened to 25 million. Of course, nearly not as great as like the Avatar, opening or something like that. Or as well as, but it's very, very similar to Christmas of last year with Wonka and Aquaman. Aquaman had this huge opening, okay, but it didn't have very good legs compared to Wonka, okay. It didn't have the legs that the other movie had. But with Mufasa, okay, I just don't think it's gonna beat Sonic throughout the whole holiday season. Okay, so those will be four movies that are gonna make money during the holidays. There was, of course, a bunch of non-franchise movies coming around as well, and another one that we launched against them. But those movies really don't make that much money. Non-franchise movies do not make hundreds of millions of dollars as they used to. Very rarely you see a movie that's not a part of a pre-existing IP or a franchise do well at all at the box office, which is pretty sad because a lot of Hollywood's major franchises like Star Wars and Ghostbusters were originally not part of a franchise. They never had sequels, prequels, all that stuff in the extended storyline, extended timeline. Okay, and even like Jurassic Park, it was started out as just a standalone movie based off a book. It was never meant to get a sequel. Then they saw how much money the movie brought in, and they gave it a sequel. Jaws, obviously, and most of the huge Christmas movies that we had know and love. Besides National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is a part of a already existing franchise, I think that one came after the original National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Okay, but I just don't understand, But yeah, now most of the box office, unfortunately, is revolving around the franchise, sequel, prequel, because that's what brings in the money, because people want to see what is familiar, and we really don't, we're really starting to see, like, the negative effects of this, obviously, like, anything original doesn't do well anymore, and, heck, we may, gaming, we haven't gone there yet because gaming is a relatively new form of medium. And same with books because, books are different. But the movie industry, even the TV industry as well, if you want a movie based off a pre-existing IP and which is made by Disney, okay, like One Piece and Wednesday were more successful than most of these original series do because they're based off of pre-existing IPs and pre-existing franchises, okay? But other than that, I think that's a problem Hollywood needs to figure out. Of course, a non-franchise movie is never going to make, $1 billion, like they used to, like Jurassic Park or Avatar did. But they still should stand a chance against these big movies, okay? It is just that simple, okay? Non-franchise movies should stand a chance against the big movies. But I just, don't understand what Disney was thinking with making a prequel to the live-action Lion King. Yes, the live-action Lion King is doing so poorly that it's doing far worse than the original Lion King remake. Yes, the original Lion King remake is doing better than, the original Lion King remake made $1 billion, and Disney said, okay, if it's gonna make $1 billion, let's make a sequel. But I think Disney doesn't understand, along with most Hollywood, just because something makes $1 billion doesn't mean it deserves a sequel, okay? There's a possibility the sequel may end up being bad, like Joker 2, okay? And of course, there's everywhere all Disney sequels that, sequels to $1 billion grossing movies. Yeah, Disney has tons of those, and they underperform massively. Alice Through the Looking Glass, didn't make $1 billion. It bombed in the theaters against X-Men. You also have the failure that was The Marvels, was bombed against The Hunger Games. And now we have Mufasa bombing against Sonic, okay, as well. And also you have a non-Disney example, which is Transformers, Michael Bay, the decline of Transformers because of Michael Bay, okay. Bumblebee and, Rat Spark and the one that released in 2024, Free, I forgot what it was called, but all those they even get close to the $1 billion mark. And yes, Transformers, part of its huge success was because of the Chinese box office. Transformers won not even passing $200 million globally, but it's still a massive decline from the $1 billion grossing movies or the Michael Bay movies. Again, it's mostly attributed because of China. That those movies were very successful in China when there was no other movies there. Same thing with Fast and the Furious, like those were because of decline in China. There's box office, same thing with Aquaman, and even Captain Marvel. A lot of those movies did play well in China, but you've seen a lot of trend here that a lot of huge franchises just do worse than the previous movie. Captain Marvel, to the Marvels, Aquaman, the Aquaman 2, that's a DCEU in general. It's just so funny that the only DCEU movie that ever hit $1 billion was Aquaman, and that was mostly because of how well it did in China. Okay, but with the Lion King remake, I think people are starting to see that these remakes are garbage. Okay, the Lion King remake is awful. Okay, there's no sugarcoating it at all. This is a movie that people didn't like, and I think with the box office of Mufasa, the Lion King, I think it's doubling down and hammering home that people didn't like the live action Lion King movie. Okay, like people didn't like that movie, and I just don't understand why Disney can't understand why people didn't like the live action Lion King. Okay, the live action Lion King is a movie that Disney released, and of course it made $1 billion somehow. Okay, I don't understand how Disney was able to achieve that, considering the fact that that movie was heavily criticized. But I think there wasn't enough criticism toward the Lion King remake for it to warrant it bombing at the box office. Okay, there were still tons of people who supported it and liked it and even defended it. Tons of major YouTubers. Again, I know major YouTubers don't really have a say or pull over what movies are successful or not. For example, there's all these YouTubers say we need to take animation more seriously, but guess what? They did, and guess what? Both of those movies flopped at the box office. Transformers 1, and of course, The Lord of the Rings, World of Warhammer. If you guys really want animation to be taken more seriously, you guys sort of watch those movies. But again, those are movies that normies don't care for. Okay, or the fact that there was these YouTubers oh, these anime movies don't make enough money. But the thing with those movies is that most of those movies are supposed to be releases. And I just don't understand why Disney, thought that even obviously I think they started remaking them because they look at the past box office success and they say, oh, this Alice for the Looking Glass movie did pretty well. Not Alice for the Looking Glass. Now, okay, it's another movie that had a $1 billion grossing movie, and its sequel did so poorly as well. But it seems that these live action Disney remakes do not age very well. Okay, Alice for the Looking Glass is an example of this, and now Mufasa the Lion King. Okay, people really don't care about the sequels to live action remakes. And the reason why I think Alice in the Wonderland was so successful to begin with was because of the whole 3D trend. It was one of the few movies that capitalized on it. The only shocking one that I saw that I'm still shocked that Avatar made $1 billion or even $2 billion, because that's one of the movies that everybody's oh yeah, we all forgot about Avatar. It's the IP that everyone forgot about, but that movie still surprised everybody. Like the first movie, and still made a lot of money. Well, so do some people who do care about the Avatar universe, a lot of them, but other than that, most of the time you don't really get that. Okay, with the Lion King remake, people didn't like that movie. Okay, it's clear and obvious by day, people didn't like the Lion King remake. Okay, so basically, then of course with the cinematography becomes franchise opening, biggest price as of 32.1 million, obviously, but Sonic 3 is projected to gross $70 million in its opening. Again, it doesn't really matter if it beats 2 or not, because this movie is releasing during the holidays, okay? So people are going to be saving up for the, holiday days. Typically holiday openings are not supposed to be the hugest, biggest openings of all time, okay? And basically there was four PG movies basically releasing with Mufasa's wanting a fourth. Is eating 12 million of Mufasa's wants as well. And Wicked, I think, is going to do pretty well as well on this week as well. Yeah. And Mufasa the Lion King is a decline of 81% from the last movie. But these are very similar to Joker 2 numbers. Yeah, I know because telling us the audience score is very good. Yeah. Keep telling yourself that, Disney. Keep telling yourself for Disney, okay? Yeah, but families will come out Christmas Day from Mufasa. They're only going at 49% for Sonic Freeze, 34%. Again, they have these data here, but this movie is doing foul. Again, Sonic Free, I think, is mostly because of the fanboy. It's gonna be fanboy loaded, quote unquote. These movies are pretty popular amongst older people, and but I think also little boys mostly young boys are gonna be watching this movie. Well, Mufasa does have appeal towards both men and women. Sonic is not very popular among women. Okay, I met so many people who just didn't like Sonic, and most people who like Sonic were men. Okay, that's how it was. Okay, but I just don't understand why Disney really, really, really thought this was a good idea. Even like let's just say each movie go, Sonic will probably not have a 7 times multiplier because if it did. Oh, actually, it'll be 490. I thought it would be 700. Okay, okay, I think that's times 10. I'm stupid, but I don't think Sonic 3 is gonna go out 490 million domestically. Mufasa, I think they're saying that there's gonna be 7 times multiplier. As high. Oh, it's as high as it. This is a bad story for Disney and pre-Christmas fame. Oh, to compare it to previous movies, obviously, but I just don't understand why Disney thought this was a good idea. We talked about this yesterday. Why Disney thought this was a good idea, okay, to giving us a sequel to the live action Lion King, okay, a movie that people clearly didn't like. They say that people like this movie. Oh yeah, people really like the Lion King remake that much. Okay, the fact that it declined 81% from the first movie, okay, speaks volumes of the decline from this to others. So let's look at the Lion King remakes. Okay, we have the percentage. Okay, let's just say it drops to us. This is the domestic gross. Let's just say the movie ends up making $130 million. It's still a lot of money made domestically, but it's still 68% drop from the original Lion King, because of course you have the holidays coming around. The movie's gonna probably make a decent amount of money there, but I just don't see it having very good rates. Very similar to Moana 2. Yeah, we also have a fun movie called Homestead by Angel Studios, but Gladiator 2 is still in the feeders. It actually still made over $1 million. Craven dropped, Lord of the Rings dropped massively, so they're not even gonna be a factor in the holidays all too much. But yeah, you also have 4 major non-franchise movies. You have also 4 non-franchise movies come on Christmas, and also globally, Sonic versus Mufasa. Okay, you gotta remember that the Sonic 3, almost every market is wanting around Christmas. Okay, in the Christmas weekend, so 25th to 27th, and a few more scattered around, January or New Year's, obviously. But Sonic 3 is defeating the live action Lion King. It is the most hilarious thing ever, because it's just so funny that this. Remember the first Sonic movie? Everybody was complaining and whining about the ugly Sonic, so they decided to fix the ugly Sonic and get rid of it, obviously, because people didn't like it. But look at how far Sonic has come. Beating the Lion King. Okay, defeating a movie that everyone was so scared to go against the first one. Okay, every studio was so scared to go against the first Lion King remake because no one dares to oppose Disney. No one dares to fight against Disney. But it seems that Paramount had defeated Disney. Okay, Paramount had defeated Disney. So yeah, the Lion King remake. Yeah, no movies released against except for I think the second highest is David Crosby, Remember My Name, and some lesser releases, but nothing released against the Lion King remake. Nothing released against it. Okay, everyone was too scared and too afraid to fight the Lion King remake. Okay, they were too scared or too afraid to fight and deal with the Lion King remake. Okay, There was literally nothing released against the Lion King. Nothing released against it. Okay, and this year we had that stuff like if Inside Out 2 or Deadpool Halloween, or heck even Twisters. Okay, didn't have any movies released against it. I actually think I had like one or two, but they were like movies that really made no money, so it didn't really matter. But you don't usually watch movies against massive tentpoles. You don't really have very common. Okay, of course, this year, of course, it's gonna become more and more common because of Barbenheimer, and now Wicked as well. Two huge blockbusters going against each other, you know, and making huge chunks of money. Still competition, but they both benefit each other because they both, they both have different audiences, like Oppenheimer and Barbie and Wicked and Gladiator too. Okay, the both movies benefited each other at the box office. Okay, and also Wicked made more money. It's gonna make more money than Moana 2. That's pretty hilarious. That domestically, Wicked is making more money than Moana 2. Okay, Wicked is making more money than Moana 2. That's pretty funny. Domestically, this movie is doing so well that it's beating Moana 2 domestically. Moana 2 is doing that poorly compared to Wicked. Yeah, Moana 2 is doing that poorly compared to Wicked at the box office. Okay, I know Wicked has a week ahead, but as well, but Wicked is doing very, very well. We can actually compare it here, but Wicked, um, yeah, you have to comparison here. Moana 2 is now starting to fall below Wicked, which is pretty funny. But Wicked is a week ahead of Moana 2, but both movies I think are going to do pretty well throughout the holiday season, obviously, throughout the Christmas weekend. Like, usually the Thanksgiving movies usually do pretty well for our Thanksgiving. Frozen did well for our Thanksgiving. Knives Out, Frozen 2 did well throughout, holidays. Because usually if the Thanksgiving movies make a lot of money, like Frozen did, or Knives Out did, okay, or the first Frozen did, and Frozen 2, obviously, as well, or Wreck-It Ralph, or Coco, or the first Moana, they usually do well throughout the Christmas, okay? Make a decent chunk of money domestically, and Rick is going to probably pass $400 million because of the holidays, most likely, which is pretty huge. It's pretty massive. And Moana 2, this movie isn't having very good legs at the box office. Again, the movie's not going to make $1 billion, okay? But it just seems. Wait, we have to go to the daily charts. It seems that with Disney, I just don't understand what they were doing this year, okay? Disney has, again, think that looking at the numbers, Disney had a very great year. It was another, but they only had two real successful movies, Inside Out 2 and Deadpool Halloween. Moana 2, it did break even, but it's having very poor legs like The Last Jedi did, okay? Or, several other amazing movies, like, like The Last Jedi. Last Jedi had pretty poor legs, and it's doing very similar to that movie. Okay, The Last Jedi. And also there was some other successful movies like Alien Romulus was made by Disney. Okay, but other than that, like Moana 2 had very, very piss poor legs. It had very, very bad legs. This is the legs of Moana 2, and they were awful. Okay, they were awful. Okay, for a movie like Moana 2, it's gonna be making at least $400 million by now. Okay, and it's for the weekend. Okay, that's how bad Moana 2 did in its second weekend. It was very similar to The Last Jedi. Okay, in terms of drops for that movie. Okay, as well. But the movie will probably make a decent chunk of money for the holidays, most likely. And the movie's gonna probably make another like 10 to 12 million domestically. This week, like with Wicked, it will make similar amount of money to Wicked. Both movies will do well throughout the holidays. And I think I'm gonna try to keep track of the holidays as much as possible. But yeah, Disney really thought it was a good idea. I think we're almost done. I think we're done with this video very soon. But Disney thought it was this good of an idea to release this. Okay, they really thought that this movie was gonna make like $2 billion, and it's gonna, but the truth hurts more than fiction. The Lion King remake, sequel, prequel, whatever you want to call it, It making $1 billion, it seems like a fantasy now, an alternate reality where people actually like the Lion King remake. But I think it really shows you that these remakes age very, very poorly. Okay, that these movies, and we'll talk about this tomorrow when the full numbers are in. But these remakes age very poorly. They do very poorly. You know, the sequels always bomb at the box office because people don't call the Lion King remake a classic like the original. Okay, when we search up the Lion King, the original animated movie search shows up on Google, and the remake, you have there was a toggle that says, "Oh, you might be looking for the Lion King remake." Yeah, again, the Lion King remake is easily one of the worst movies of all time. Okay, it's a soulless cash grab that was designed to make $1 billion. Okay, and it worked the first time. People were fooled, but not twice. You can't fool people twice with the same city ass product. Except for the 13 million people, except for the, people who bought tickets for the Lion King remake as well. Okay, you can't fool people twice. Okay, you can't fool people twice. I don't know if they have ticket numbers for this movie. Yeah, or did they get rid of that? Okay, so yeah, you can't fool people twice. Okay, and yeah, well, actually, we can actually divide how many tickets Mufasa. So around 2.8 million people will be fooled. Yeah, we actually put the actual. I think it's around $13 for one ticket. Yeah, so around 2.8 million people will still be fooled to watching the Lion King prequel. And if we plug in the full numbers, I think it'll be like 13 million or something. Oh, I think we didn't do it correctly. 13 million people will still unfortunately be fooled to watching the Lion King remake prequel. But still a far cry from the original Lion King remake. Well, it had 50, yeah, it's a massive, massive decline, okay, of ticket sales. 59 million down to 13 million. This just really shows you how poorly the Lion King remake did. You know, how poorly aged that movie did. But we'll talk about that next time in tomorrow's video. Goodbye.